Hello, my name is Tyra Ray. I am a marketing director here at Automate365. And we actually have a very special guest that's a little bit different from what we normally do. We normally do stuff with vendors, but we actually have a very special guest today. We have Mr. Jake Hall. Please I mean, you need no introduction, but let's please just take the floor.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. It's great to be on. I love sharing my story and what we're seeing in the future of manufacturing. But I'm Jake Hall. I'm probably known by a better name in the industry called the Manufacturing Millennial,
Ooh.
and I'm a industry advocate who likes to highlight what the future of manufacturing is going to uphold, from the people working into the future generations around, and then also the new technology and changes that we're going to be seeing in the industry. So I have a social media platform of about 100,000 followers
Wow.
on LinkedIn where I get to every day post a something that I've learned or want to share on manufacturing. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, having you here is a true treat. I mean, you have like your social platform is huge. So this is a treat for us at Automate to kind of have some time to sit down with you and kind of pick your brain a bit.
Absolutely, it's great to be here.
Oh, thank you. Okay. I'll get started with the questions. Let's get right into it. So, when you started in manufacturing at about 15, from sweeping floors to welding, how did that early hands-on experience shape the way you approach automation and industry innovation today?
Yeah, I think, it's one of those things where unless people have a firsthand experience, they really don't know what the industry is about. And being in high school at the time, pretty much every guidance counselor out there told, "Hey, don't go into manufacturing because that's where the dark, the darty, the dull, dangerous jobs are in the industry."
Right.
They say, "Hey, don't go work in manufacturing because that's where the industry is leaving. It's not going to grow. People don't make things here anymore." And that's really the farthest from the truth. And for me,
Mm.
starting off as 15 when I was in high school, yeah, I did do a lot of the dirty stuff, being a broom boy and a shop kid, cleaning the floors. But for me, it got me a lot of introductions to first-hand experience with industrial robots and being able to see what automation looks like in manufacturing and realize all the different skill sets that manufacturing can have as a future career. So for
Mhm.
me, working with that in high school said, hey, it's a great opportunity for me to go become an engineer, get a manufacturing engineering degree, and then understand the technology that impacts what the industry has.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you've had an impressive start. I mean, obviously, I've kind of done my own research before you had gotten to do a meeting with us, but you've had definitely a long, interesting start. So I'm glad we're kind of getting more into the nitty gritty of your like background and everything.
Absolutely.
Okay, so when you first started posting manufacturing content online, did you have a strategy or did it kind of just evolve as you kept posting? And what do you think made your content take off the way it did?
Yeah. Oh man, no, there really was never a strategy to start with. For me, it
Okay.
was it was one of those things that it started during the pandemic when everyone was working from home and we couldn't go see people in person anymore. So for me, it was one of
Mm.
those areas when I was working in outside sales at the time. I figured, okay, how do I still talk to people about the products that we're distributing and what we're selling? And for me, I thought, adding a personal touch where instead of posting a screenshot of a line card, I'm going to
Yes.
film a 3-minute video of me holding a sensor or me
Right.
holding a power supply or talking about or a conveyor or a vision system. And talking about the applications, for me, I thought if I shoot it in a way that's exciting, engageable, it creates a lot of conversation. It was one of those things where we can have a different approach to what the manufacturing industry needs when it comes to exciting content. So for me, it was one of those things, and that as the industry grew and as I grew, I
Yeah.
realized people love to see how things are made. People are loving to
Yes.
see how technology is it going to change their workforce? Is it more of a buzz? What's going to impact it? For me, I love to share information that's going to make people more knowledgeable about the industry.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously since I am in marketing, a part of what I do is social media. So it has been very nice to see your platform and kind of be like given to the audience in a different way. I think
Yeah.
sometimes when people think manufacturing, when they think distributor, they think this industry, it gets very kind of like plain, very vanilla sometimes, or very much so the same. It's kind of like the
Yeah.
same format. We post the same way. So I do like the way that you kind of serve it instead, and it's more interactive because I think you can make anything interesting if you really wanted to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So from everything you see at events, integrators and factory floors. What do you think is the next big shift in automation over the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, I think the biggest change we're going to see is how products are going to more enhance the worker that's working on the manufacturing floor. I think, for a long time we thought about how is automation going to replace workers? Now it's how is automation going to enable workers? How is technology going to enable workers to drive um, the most productivity out of a worker? I think a lot of
Mhm.
times we lose sight of the importance of people on the manufacturing floor. And if we realize that we can use technology to enable that worker
Yeah.
who, we have a person that was there for 40 years and they're retiring after being at that company for a long time. How is technology going to enable a younger, less skilled worker who's just starting out to be able to take that tribal knowledge, to be able to take the skill sets that older generation has and move it forward? We're going to see that through software. We're going to see that through digital based work instructions. We're going to see that through automation that is doing the 90% in an area where automation is not going to solve all the problems, but
Mhm.
automation is going to be able to take the really physical, the really dirty, the dangerous tasks of what manufacturing offers, and then allow the humans to do what they're at when it comes to dexterity
Mm.
or inspections or stuff that automation still might not have the best ROI or
Right.
justification for what a manufacturer needs.
Right. No, I agree 100%. I think there definitely is a big turn, obviously, with AI and everything. So anytime you start bringing that into different spaces, I think you're definitely in for a different treat here in the next 5 to 10 years. I think things will be very much so different from how they are today.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so from your experience working across manufacturing and automation, what truly makes a vendor or partner stand out beyond just their price value in terms of long-term value and longevity?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's working with vendors or distribution. It's way more than the product. It's how does that product interact with all the other systems and solutions that are out there? I think is one of the biggest things, right? We can go out and we can sell a drive or a robot or a sensor or a camera, and it might be really good on its own, but
Hmm.
when it doesn't integrate well with an entire system,
Yeah,
that's where I think a lot of companies in the systems integration, the end user world, struggle with. It's one of those things that's how well is the product by itself? How well does it work in an ecosystem where a machine could have hundreds of different components from hundreds of different vendors? How well do they play nicely with others?
of course.
Because if you don't play with nice with others, you're not going to get selected because you're putting yourself on your own platform.
Right.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that we see as well from taking the product out of hands and working with the company itself. I think a lot of it has to do with um, after sales support. Are you there
Oh,
when
yes.
a company is having a problem with deploying a solution? Are you there to support on the applications level? Are you just selling a product, or are you selling a service that's helping those companies, those systems integrators, those end users truly be able to solve their problem, not just sell them a product?
Oh, yeah. I think that is actually very big. I'm kind of glad you touched on that because I do think a lot of the issues people have with manufacturers is that there is no aftercare.
Yeah.
You buy the products and then you go home. If things don't work, then that's just kind of on you. And they're either selling you a different solution, but they're not necessarily trying to help you solve the issue. So I do think that's a big issue in itself. It's just kind of like the hands offness. So when you can
Yeah.
be hands on, I think that definitely makes you I guess better competition above the rest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I guess actually our last question here is so for younger professionals entering this manufacturing or building their own industry brand, what's one piece of advice you wish someone gave you earlier in your career?
Oh man. I would say not necessarily earlier in career. I think I always got it from a young age, but for me, it's be authentic. I think a lot of times when people get in front of a camera or they have an online presence beyond just their in-person presence, they try and be a different individual.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty easy for people to tell what they're that their online personality is different than their in-person personality. And for me, when I talk to everyone is, um, be yourself, be authentic, be true to what you're saying. And I think, it's one of those things where it's easy then to be, it's really easy to swap between the two, to be engageable between the two when you're authentic. I think that's the big thing that for me is authenticity from either a sales or a marketing or a business perspective. I think is one of those things that will always create the best opportunities for you going forward.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think sometimes when you're presenting yourself in front of people, sometimes people think that there's a certain way you need to be, but not realizing people would just prefer you to be whichever way you normally are.
100%. 100%.
I think that's great advice. Okay. I mean, we've got our 5 questions in. Is there any like last little tidbits that you'd like to say on your behalf about anything, really?
Oh man, the last takeaway I always love to advocate is in the manufacturing space, we're um, always have a hard time getting future workforces excited about our industry. And so for me, as a call to action, I would tell every manufacturing company that's out there, engage in your local community, engage with your local K through 12 schools, get involved with your local community colleges and universities, and be a part of a community that's advocating manufacturing. Because one day those young kids will either be your employees, they could be your future customers.
Yes.
And the sooner you create engagement and awareness around what you're doing in your local community, what you're doing in the industry, the long-term benefits that you're going to have in the future.
Absolutely. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time today. We are very excited to have you as a guest. And definitely being able to impart your knowledge on the rest of us. I mean, like I said, since you have so much skin in the game, it's nice to like hear a little bit about your background, but also touching on some advice for everybody else that's listening as well. So thank you for the time today.
Absolutely. It was great to be on.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Jake. And we will definitely hope to see you again in the future, but we appreciate your time today.
Sounds good. See you soon.
Bye.